Hey there, everyone. This is meteorologist Ryan Weekman joining you for our holiday weekend Sunday night weather hangout. Thanks very much for joining us. If you're watching live on the YouTube stream or live at Google+, certainly appreciate you hanging out with me live. If you're watching, as I suspect many of you are after the fact, enjoying some of your 4th of July weekend festivities, I appreciate you watching after the fact. Our Sunday night weather hangouts roll on through. We've got some great questions to get to here. And, of course, got plenty to talk about in the forecast. It's been a dry, let's say cool 4th of July weekend. Things are going to get a little bit soggier, though, as we go over the next few days, at least potentially with the chance for some scattered showers out there starting as early as this evening. So for those of you that have watched the Sunday Night Weather Hangout, you know how this is going to go. We're going to talk about the forecast, get a little bit more in depth than I can get on TV, because we only got about 2-3 minutes to give you the forecast, and then we're going to answer your questions. Those of you that have submitted your questions on Twitter and Facebook before the show started, we're going to get to those questions here coming up in just a minute. This will be a shorter Sunday night weather hangout thanks to the holiday weekend. Got a couple extra things going on here in the Weather Center, but we'll be sure to get to all of the questions and everything else, all the fun stuff of our Sunday night weather hangout. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. Let's get right to it here, and we'll show you my screen, what I'm looking at back here in the Storm Track Weather Center. This is my, and anybody else can have this, SimuAWips software. It's simuawips.com, and this is a really cool way that you can look at all sorts of weather information. This is the latest radar loop from the last hour or 2 hours across the Midwest, and you'll start to see we're now starting to get thunderstorms and showers that are popping up across central Michigan, and a more concentrated line from northern Wisconsin back through Iowa. This is the cold front here, the first one of 2 that we're expecting over the next 48 hours. This will be the better chance for rain for us crossing the Mississippi River right now. Some of these showers now popping up in southern and central Michigan. These will try to skirt the northern parts of the viewing area overnight for tonight, but I suspect most of those may go just north of the area. Lenawee County, Monroe County, Hillsdale County being the most affected by those, but some of those could drop into northwest Ohio as well. Here's the water vapor imagery showing a pretty good little piece of energy that's now dropping through Iowa and Minnesota. Again, that's what's causing these thunderstorms to really develop in the evening for us here. And another piece of energy back here into Saskatchewan that's going to drop south our way. That'll give us a chance for rain as we go into Tuesday for us. But we got one piece of energy there, another back here. That's going to be the big game players over the next few days for us here. For the most part, the 7-day forecast actually looks pretty quiet for us. Once we get past the chances for rain, Monday into Tuesday, there's a very low chance for a shower on Wednesday, and then things are looking cool and sunny most of Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday for us, with really, for the most part, low humidity levels and a surprisingly cool forecast, considering it is now the second week of July that we're heading into. It's hard to believe 4th of July is already over with, isn't it? All right, let's show you kind of what we're looking at. Again, this is the water vapor imagery, but here's kind of a look ahead forecast, if you will, as far as what the radar may look like. This is a forecasting model. It's called the NAM, and it's really good at short-term forecasting. And it shows overnight tonight by 8 p.m., so what's going on right now. You get the general idea of it. It shows the scattered showers across central Michigan, and probably a little bit fast with the cold front, but still trying to show those showers back in Wisconsin. And as we go overnight tonight, you'll see that chance for showers and into early morning for tomorrow. This is at 8 a.m., spread across the area. And then tomorrow afternoon, more showers here will try to pop up, especially across the southern part of the viewing area. Look off to the west, and you'll see into Tuesday morning the scattered chance for showers with that second cold front. Remember that piece of energy back into Canada we were just talking about? That comes on through Tuesday morning into the early afternoon hours and gives us a chance for some scattered showers for us there. So when you look at the forecast, I'll show you the 7-day forecast coming up here in just a few moments. You'll see there's a 70% chance and a 90% chance. That doesn't mean it's going to be raining every minute of those days, but basically I'm trying to convey there's a pretty good chance that you're going to see at least some rain between Monday and Tuesday. There's a pretty solid shot out there. So I know a lot of farmers out there, you've been, for those of you that planted the wheat and trying to harvest that, this was a great weekend for that, but it looks like the dry time is going to come to an end pretty quickly as we head into Monday, at least most areas will see at least some rain for us. But as far as the soybeans and the corn and the other crops that need a little bit of watering, it's been rather dry the last few days. It does look like most of those will get that Monday or on Tuesday. It looks like the much better chance for more widespread type of rain for us. So pretty good chance for showers there. But the 7-day forecast, again, I'm telling you, for the most part, most of this week is still looking pretty good. Here it is for you. This is straight off the website, ToledoNewsNow.com. You can go here, look at the forecast anytime. Of course, if you have your Storm Track weather app, I use that a lot when tracking on radar any of those showers and storms that are coming on through. But look at this, 83 Monday, 80 Tuesday, and then we go 70s Wednesday, Thursday, barely sneak up into the 80s on Friday, and then very good chance Saturday has some bust potential to reach into the low 80s, but I'm thinking with the chance for showers and clouds that'll be overhead, we may very well just sit in the upper 70s there, and then Sunday, more cool weather that's kind of sitting around. So the popular question that's been asked right before we got on this Google Plus Hangout on Twitter, Michael asked this question, and let me see if I can point right there. There's my Twitter handle. So if you guys are looking for that, Mike, you were able to get the question in just in time, and this has been the really popular question. Was asking about the heat over the 4th of July, and the more popular one was when are the 90s going to make a return? In fact, Crystal just asked this question here. She's watching on Google Plus, and if you guys have a Gmail account or if you're on Google Plus, it's basically Google's version of Facebook. You can ask questions live during this Hangout instead of having to get them in beforehand on Facebook and Twitter. So Crystal was asking, will there be any more days in the 90s? And kind of going along, another question that was asked, when are the 90s going to make a return? Obviously, it's nowhere in that 7-day forecast. It looks rather cool for us. I'm going to explain why things look pretty cool here with another weather chart that I'll be showing you here in a few minutes. But there will be, I would have to say pretty confidently, there are going to be 90-degree days yet this year, Crystal. You look back to last year, we started off our 4th of July, or the first part of July, pretty cool. We only had highs in the upper 70s and low 80s, very similar to this. And then once we got around the 15th to the 19th, there was 4 or 5 straight days where we actually hit the mid-90s and the low 90s for 4 or 5 straight days. So just because it looks like it right now, looking out 7 to 10 days, there's nothing that's alarm bells ringing saying, oh my goodness, here comes the heat. But there's a lot of summer still to go. I know many people think, well, the 4th of July is over with, summer's half gone, but really it's not quite yet. You think of June, July, and August as the 3 warmest months of the year, and so we haven't even hit July 15th yet, so we're not even halfway there. There's still plenty of time for us to get the potential for some heat in there. And speaking of asking questions live during the Hangout, Matthew just asked a question, and since we're on the topic, I'll just piggyback it right now. Matthew asked, how will the humidity be this week? And that was another question that was asked over on Twitter as well. Humidity levels the next 24 to 36 hours will be, let's just say medium. By July standards, it's not going to be oppressively heavy air, very muggy, moisture-laden air, but you'll notice it out there, especially compared to the last 4 days where there's been like no mugginess whatsoever. But once that secondary cold front comes through on Tuesday, that energy that's up in Canada right now, once that comes sweeping through the area, that'll shove out a lot of moisture, and we're actually probably looking at lows that'll once again flirt with the low 50s and even upper 40s in a few spots for a couple mornings this week. So relatively significantly dry air for mid part of July will be coming into the area. So no concerns, Matt, and I'll have to remember who asked that on Twitter. But as far as any humidity levels this week, they're going to be pretty low for us. To answer that question for you here again, our 7-day forecast right here. I see we've got quite a few more people joining into the Hangout here, so thank you guys very much for watching live. I'm sure many of you are watching over on YouTube, and well, if you're watching after the fact as well, certainly appreciate you guys watching as well. So I promised I would show you why things are going to stay pretty cool for us over the next few days. I'm going to show you this weather map, and many of you go, ooh, there's lots of pretty colors on there, and that's meant to spice things up and give us a little bit better feel for what we're looking at. But basically, all you need to know is we're looking about halfway up through the atmosphere, and this gives us a general picture of what the atmosphere will be doing over long periods of time. So anywhere that there's this red, that means it's very likely dry and it's very likely warm. Anywhere where you see these green and these, it'll eventually turn blue values up across northern Canada. Just to give you some reference, this is Canada, the U.S., Mexico's down here on this map. Anywhere you see the greens and the blues up here, it's likely pretty cool. And anywhere where you get these lines stacked up very close to each other, that's where there's strong winds in the atmosphere. And that's where you have the dividing line between the warm air and the cold air. And as many of you know from elementary lessons in meteorology, that's where a lot of times we get the storms that come on through. So watch the next 48 hours or so. I'll play it out here. And look at how tightly packed these lines are across the Midwest and Great Lakes. That's why there's a good chance for showers over the next few days. As we go later in the week, you'll see that gradient really start to loosen up as we get into Friday. But here's the important part. I'm going to show you this as we go into the long term, when we're trying to look ahead to see what do things kind of look like as far as the long-term forecast. I want you to notice out west, you're going to see those reds really building in. And so the Intermountain West up towards southern Canada in the western half of North America, things are probably really going to start warming up. But for us, you're going to notice that builds to the west of us, and we're still under the influence of some of those cooler color values, which are an indication to us that things will be relatively cool. So here's Saturday. There's that chance for rain that comes on through the next trough. But look out west. Look at how these values have really increased here for you off to the west. And they kind of sit there, and here in the Great Lakes, we're relatively sheltered from that over the next week to 7 to 10 days or so. My inkling is once we get past around 7 days or so, some of that heat is going to get shoved our way. So if you're thinking about it, today is July 6th, looking at the calendar here. Let's give it very similar to last year. I'd really be looking out for, looking at my calendar over here. Today's the 6th and it's a Sunday. How about looking somewhere in the 15th, Tuesday the 15th, that week, somewhere in there, the 15th through the 22nd, somewhere in that time frame. I bet you we might get a couple days stringing together with some 90s in there if you're looking for some heat. But as far as the next 7 days go, the chances don't look all that high for any real big heat to be building in for us here. So keep that in mind. Somebody call me out on that on Twitter or Facebook. We'll see how well that pans out. It's very tough to forecast outside of 7 days, but somewhere between the 15th and the 22nd, I bet we'll get a couple days strung together there, maybe the 14th to the 21st, somewhere in that time frame of some pretty decent heat that'll maybe require me to finally turn on the air conditioner. I'm trying hard this year, guys. We have a great breeze that blows through the house, and I'm trying really hard not to turn on the air conditioner this year. We've made it so far, especially after this winter. I want to see how long we could make it. So it's amazing how fans really help you out, right? So, okay, there's the question that's on a lot of people's mind as far as the heat is concerned. We had another question that was asked, what about the rain estimates for us here? And this is just kind of a map. I could tell you somewhere around an inch, but I'll just show you the map because it's even easier. Point of reference, here's Ohio, here's Indiana, here's Michigan. Anywhere in these blue shades, there's roughly 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches of rain. And that's probably a fair ballpark estimate. Many spots will end up with around 1/2 to 1 inch of rain over the next 3 days. A few spots will manage to eclipse that, especially south of Toledo, down towards Findlay and Tiffin, and even especially south of that, down towards the Ohio River. They'll probably get a few spots closer to 2.5 inches of rain with some of those repeat thunderstorms. But up here, probably expect most spots to be 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. That might not be enough for many of you not to stop watering those gardens and those plants out there. So keep that in mind, even though it does look like there's a good chance for rain. It may not be quite enough, especially Monday, for many of you not to go out there and have to water. So just keep that in mind as far as those rain chances go. And here's a good question that we got right before we went on. This is the question that Matthew asked, I believe. Or Michael, excuse me, this is what Michael asked. Asked 4th of July temperatures compared to the past. How does this all shake up? I was kind of surprised. I went back through, and I went through all 140 years of the records here in Toledo for how many of them had no rain but still managed to have a high below around like 75 degrees or so like that. Actually, it was pretty common. There was about 8 or 9 years where that happened. And believe it or not, the coolest year, and by the way, we hit 74 this year, 67 degrees in 1922 is what Toledo hit. That's at 67 degrees on the 4th of July with no rainfall reported. It was actually a sunny day, 67 degrees. That's incredible for around here with how high that sun angle truly is for us here. So keep that in mind. Stuff like this happens. It happened a few years ago. We had temperatures only in the 70s. I believe it was 2009, where it was a relatively cool year for the 4th of July as well for us. And not to be remiss, we were talking about storm and rain chances for tomorrow. I don't want to let you guys go without at least talking about this real quick. SPC has a southern part of our viewing area under a slight risk for severe weather for tomorrow. This is for some afternoon pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Of course, this time of the year you can get the heavy winds, or excuse me, the heavy rains, the strong winds, thunder and lightning, that sort of thing. So keep that in mind. Of course, we'll be here in the Storm Track Weather Center keeping our eye on it. It's something that any severe storm, of course, can be dangerous, but it doesn't overall look like a big threat. But it's something that we'll be watching for you here. So we're going to leave it at that for tonight. We're going to make it a 15-minute Sunday night weather hangout. This was kind of a fast one for us for this evening. I'll let you guys get back to your 4th of July holiday festivities. Hope you enjoy the next few hours of weekend bliss if you were lucky enough to have the whole weekend off. I'll be here, of course, giving the latest forecast, 10 o'clock over on Fox Toledo. Don't miss out. We got a big show tonight at 11 o'clock over on WTOL. I know I can count on you guys and see you over there. So look forward to seeing you tonight. Have a great week as well, guys.